Hi, so today we're going to learn how to do a standing assisted pivot with one PT. The first thing you're going to want to do before you enter the room is evaluate the patient's condition. I've looked at her medical records and I have evaluated that she will need a standing assisted pivot today. And once I get in the room, I'll determine what kind of level of assistance she needs with that. And before you go in, you're also going to need to be aware that we're doing a standing assisted pivot from the wheelchair to the bed, so we're going to need materials such as a wheelchair, a bed, and a gait belt for safety.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Hi, I'm Chris and I'm going to be your PT today. What's your name?
Deanne Gouch.
All right, and what's your date of birth?
1/11/1992.
All right, so today our goal is to get you from your wheelchair to the bed. Can you tell me what side is your strong leg?
My left side.
All right, so what we're going to do is get that leg nice and close to the bed. So we're going to use that to help us get up, and we're also going to turn in the direction of that. So since that's your strong leg, it's really going to help us with just being stable in our turn. So the first thing that I'm going to need you to do is bring your wheelchair to a 45-degree angle to the bed. So that's good. Get it nice and close for me, and go ahead and lock your wheels out. All right, and then if you wouldn't mind lifting up your feet, I'm going to get these footrests out of the way, just so we don't trip over them. All right, and then before we begin, we're going to be doing a standing assisted pivot today, and I'm just going to need you to scoot to the front of your chair so I can get this gait belt around you for safety, just to make sure that you don't fall and that we're stable. And then our goal is to get you to stand using that strong leg. We're going to pivot to the right, and we're going to step back to the bed, make sure your legs are touching before we sit, and then we're going to sit you nice and steady on the bed. And just to make sure that we know what is going on, can you repeat that for me?
So I'm going to lift using my strong leg, and then I'm going to pivot to the right, and then I'm going to back up to the bed before I sit.
Okay, good.
Step by step, ooh baby.
In order to complete a standing assisted pivot transfer, follow the following steps. After the patient's wheelchair has been brought close to the bed at a 45 to 60 degree angle, the wheels are locked and the footrests have been moved out of the way. Have the patient scoot to the forward edge of their chair by walking their hips forward or by sliding the pelvis and raising the trunk.
First, if you can, go ahead and walk your hips to the edge of your seat.
Apply the gait belt.
Go ahead and raise your hands for me. I'm going to put this gait belt around you just for some extra support.
Position the patient's stronger leg slightly behind their weaker leg. This will help to maximize the amount of support from their stronger leg.
Since this leg is stronger, go ahead and push it back just a little bit. That's going to give us a lot more strength when we stand.
Place your own foot on the outside of the patient's weaker leg and place your knee on the inside of theirs. This will assist in stabilizing the patient's leg.
Just for a little extra help, I'm going to put my foot on the outside of yours and my knee on the inside of yours.
Have the patient lean forward to move their center of gravity over their feet and then stand.
So before we stand, go ahead and put your nose to your toes when you're about to get up. And if you need to create a little bit of momentum, we're going to rock back and forth. And on the count of 3, we'll stand. So 1, 2, 3.
Allow the patient to stand and gain their bearings before continuing. Tighten the gait belt if necessary.
So go ahead, and if you feel a little dizzy, let me know. Just get your bearings for me, and I'm going to tighten this up just a little bit.
Bring the patient's feet back to parallel.
Okay, so bring this foot next to that foot just so we're nice and stable with our base of support.
Using small steps, pivot the patient so their back is facing the bed.
Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to pivot on this leg and take nice and small steps so your back is faced to the bed.
Ensure that the backs of the patient's legs are touching the bed before beginning the descent.
And go ahead and back up all the way until your legs feel the bed.
Have the patient place their hands on the bed as they descend.
Go ahead and feel for the bed behind you, and then take a seat.
One more time. One more time. This is the end.
So just some final things to consider when doing the standing assisted pivot. The first thing that you want to consider is the type of shoes that the patient's wearing. You really want to make sure that it has a nice firm surface. So no slippers, no slippery shoes, or shoes that have a smooth leather sole, just so you're not slipping all over the place when you're trying to help the patient transfer. You also want to make sure that if the bed is too high, you can use something like a footstool to help get up on the bed. And always make sure that you use a gait belt on every patient every time, because you never know when something could happen. Definitely make sure that the path is clear. So if they have IV lines, make sure those are out of the way so you're not going to be tripping over those when you're transferring. Also, definitely make sure that the wheels on the wheelchair are locked, as well as if the bed has wheels, make sure those are locked too. Also, be aware of any other medical conditions that the patient might have that might affect the transfer. So if they're really out of breath or something, make sure that they have a nice deep breath before you stand. And also, before you do the transfer, you're going to want to make sure that you assess the need of assistance. So if you need to do minimum, moderate, or maximum assistance. In this demonstration, Deanne did pretty much all of the work. I probably did about 25% of the work, so that would be considered a minimum assist. If you do about 50% of the work, that will be considered a moderate assist. And if you do about 75% of the work or more, that would be a maximum assist. And finally, I recorded in Deanne's medical record that I did a standing assisted pivot with minimum assist. So that's all you need to know.